Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you so much for coming in. Hey, what's going on, Scatterbrains? Thank you so much for coming back to another episode of Scatterbrains. My name is Travis, and today I'm going to be reviewing Married at First Sight, Season 10, Episode 6. Just a couple of things to get off my chest before we move forward. The nicknames are not going anywhere. So for those of you that do not like the nicknames, your best bet is to either get used to it or get to step into somebody else's channel. I know people are offended when I say stuff like that, but it's literally my channel, so I'm going to do what I want to do. So if you don't like the nicknames, I'm sorry. And if you can't keep up with the nicknames, you need to go look up who's actually on this show, because if you can't figure out who I'm talking about based on these nicknames, you got other things you need to be worried about than me using nicknames. Second, I'm so sick of Married at First Sight giving us these fabricated wake-up scenes. We know these people did not just wake up out of bed with a mic on. They're not going to sleep with the mic on. So we know they're not waking up with the mic on because you got to charge the mic overnight. So all these good morning, beautiful scenes. Why? Why? They're so fake. Stop them. Thirdly, what is going on with Zach Vision? Like, I don't understand who in production was like, let's show this through the eyes of Zach. Everything is in slow motion. Not everything, you know, a lot of stuff is in slow motion. Like, we're getting slow motion scenes of them walking down the beach, slow motion scenes of them, you know, picking up rocks and skipping them through the water. Like, what is going on with Zach Vision? We're not Zach. We don't want to see the world through slow motion. Okay, great. So I'm going to do this review a little out of norm. This episode was the last day of the honeymoon, and there was a boat trip that happened with 4 out of the 5 couples. So I'm going to talk about that first before we talk about what happened with each individual couple. Episode was just okay. Wasn't great. Wasn't horrible. It was just okay. So on the boat, they start talking about like kids and stuff like that. And the only people who I wrote down that really said anything was Carrick. That's Katie and Derek. They only want to wait about 2 years before they start having kids. So we're gonna go ahead and move on because that stuff really wasn't important. But Eminem did not make it to the boat ride, obviously, because they have a whole lot of stuff going on and they're trying to build their foundation. So they decided to walk around the island looking for Ariel, Sebastian, and Flounder for some reason, and just taking all the scenes that Panama had to offer. So while they're doing that, they're able to kind of reconnect, which was a good thing for them. And it's probably what they needed, was to have separate time away from everybody else. Taylor in her wig gets Derek to take a picture of her for IG. So this kind of is like a running theme throughout the episode as far as Taylor in her wig and the pictures. Brandon thinks it's bizarre, but we'll talk about that more when we get to their section of the video. So while they're all on the boat, they anchor and they all go swimming. They have a good time with the little pool noodles and all of that kind of stuff. So, you know, they're just trying to enjoy themselves. We watched everybody jump off the boat except for Taylor and her wig. So I don't know if Taylor and her wig actually jumped off the boat like everybody else, because they were kind of like higher up on the boat jumping off. Because I was just like, oh my gosh, I hope Taylor and her wig don't jump off the boat, because it won't be Taylor and her wig anymore. It'll be Taylor and her wig and the ocean. So, but she did end up in the water. We might have saw her jump off a lower platform. Maybe she knew that the impact that would happen when she hit the water just would not have been good for her and her bobby pin. So, you know, good for her. But they're all having a good time. And at one point, I think Brandon says like, where's Zach? And Brandon's like, oh, he's probably fixing his hair. But for some reason, Zach wasn't over there with everybody else. And I don't remember if we got a clear answer of why he wasn't. Oh, side note, I had to watch this episode in 3 parts. I started watching it last night and I fell asleep. I started watching it earlier today, and then Mother Nature was like, honk, honk, I'm coming through with these tornadoes, bro. You better get your life right. So we had tornadoes all up and through North Carolina today, touching down all over the place. You know, Mother Nature was out there millie rocking outside, just throwing stuff all over the place. Like it was madness, and I was legit nervous. Like gave me the bubble guts and everything. So I could not focus on Married at First Sight. So I had to stop the episode. So I'm just now getting around to filming this review at 5 o'clock, when I usually do these at like 10. So I watched it in 3 different settings. So if I miss stuff, hey, it is what it is. So sorry. So they're having a good time. So then, you know, like always, the guys break off with the girls. Yeah, they did that again. So while the guys are together, Zach, I believe they start talking about, has anybody consummated maybe? And Zach is saying they're not close to doing it. Austin, we already know, and Jessica have, consummated, but he says he's not a kiss and tell person because I guess he doesn't really want to embarrass her. Brandon says he feels like they've been friends for years, and for some reason, Brandon started talking about why he shuts down. I don't know, y'all. My notes are really, y'all know how my notes are. Y'all know. Girls, Taylor talks about how she calls Brandon a diva or a princess. So that is also kind of like a running theme that we'll see. Not a running theme, but we'll pick up on it at the end of the episode. Michael and Mika, Eminem, we open up seeing that one of them is on the second floor and the other one is on the fifth floor. Like he was brumming from the fifth floor at this point because they were nowhere near each other because, they had gotten separate rooms because of everything that happened. And we got this sweeping shot of Mika while she was in the bed. Like the camera was at the bottom of the bed and it like zoomed up into her face. And I was just like, they're doing a lot with production this year. Like y'all you ain't got to do all of that. Just chill out. But they took this whole episode pretty much to reconnect, and it seemed like it worked out for them. They took their time to just talk, to try to build that friendship foundation that they feel is necessary. Excuse me, and that seemed to be what they were actually working on. So I'm not mad about that. They go exploring the city, like I said, and they just want to build their friendship. They talk about, trivial things like he had a car. He's had his car since high school, and it only has 20,000 miles on it. So I'm just like, well, you ain't going nowhere. How do you have a car? And they're around my age, and I've been out of high school for 15 years. You had a car for 15 years, and it's only gotten 20,000 miles on it. You haven't been driving that car. So maybe he's been walking or maybe he's been taking a bus. I don't know. But they get some shaved ice and they sit down and have a conversation. It's all really pleasant. They talk about wanting children. And Mika says that she's just now starting to feel comfortable with Michael, which, I honestly think Mika and Michael are trying to make the best out of this situation. Despite how everything happened initially for them, I think they are actually trying. I don't think either of them are terrible people, like some people on the show. But a lot of the couples this episode talk about what it's going to be like managing life when they get back to DC. So that's a running topic that everybody was told to have. And she stresses to him that there's a certain level of house etiquette that he needs to have, because what I guess is happening is when they get back to DC, they're putting them up in an apartment. I think they did that in Charlotte last year. Like they all put them kind of in the same apartment building. So I think that that's what's happening now, because on previous seasons of Married at First Sight, they kind of chose whether to move in with each other or move into their own place. But she says that he needs to clean up after himself, that most of the bed belongs to her. Do not always be on your phone, especially during a serious conversation. Stay quiet when you wake up. She said, I bet not hear an ant piss on cotton when you get out of that bed. He realizes that she's high maintenance. And yeah, because he was making all these faces. It felt like he was Stevie J or something, because he was like, I was like, okay, Michael, glad your facial muscles are working. But, lucky enough, they go to bed together that evening, which is great. Michael is happy to be beside all that cocoa butter. And they wake up together. They didn't say anything about consummate, which they probably didn't, because when they went to bed, there was a pillow in between them two in the bed. But he says he was happy that they woke up together, and it's feeling like it's starting to work out. We're going to come back to them. Let's go to Justin, the least problematic couple. For them, they've been hunching and it's great. So, kudos to them. There's not really much to talk about for them. Just kind of the things that they discuss. They really have just a regular marriage, on this show. It's not issue filled. They don't have drama because they're so awkward. I don't even think they have an opportunity to be problematic on this show. But they talk about religion and how they were brought up, and if they want to bring their children up that kind of way. And it was during their part that I fell asleep, because I put that in the notes because I started misspelling stuff. And every couple also had dinner, and they had dinner in the room. So he did something very nice for her, and they talked about how things are going so well. They're worried, are they going too well? Which I can definitely say that if I had been Married at First Sight and things were going just extremely well, you'd probably be like, why is this going so great? Like, are the experts that good? Clearly they're not. But, it's kind of like, why is this going so great? Especially given the show's track record. They talk about how they're both trying to make changes for the other and do better. Talk about what their favorite part has been so far, which is getting to know each other. And do they have any concerns? And the biggest concern she has was just living out of a suitcase. Let's go to Carrick next. As I said, that's Katie and Derek. I don't have much for them at all. Things are going great for them. She says she wonders if he is the male version of her. They talk about their plans when they get back to DC as far as apartment. Do they like to have dogs in the bed? Which I don't understand, but if you like it, I love it. And she does express that she is nervous about moving in together because I think she values a little bit of her alone time. She mentions that at some point during this honeymoon, she was looking forward to a shower by herself. And she got in the shower and he jumped right on in with her. And she was like, yeah. But my thing is, all you have to do is just communicate and say, hey, I kind of was looking forward to a shower by myself, or say that before you get in the shower. One of the biggest things I've learned about marriage is you can't have an expectation for the other person that they are unaware of. If I want to take a shower by myself and I don't want you in there, then I need to let you know before I get in. Hey, I'm going to go take a shower by myself real quick and I'll be out. That's one of the best pieces of advice I could have ever gotten is if you're going to have expectation for the other person, they need to be aware of that expectation. So they have dinner at some place. One of the things that they talk about that may be a concerning issue for them is the fact that she's a 1 alarm person. He's a 5 to 10 alarm. You set your alarm and you get up on the first one, where some people just hit snooze a whole bunch of times. But the one thing that stood out the most to me is that whatever restaurant they were at, they were fed their appetizer on a mini tree of life. Like, I'm trying to figure out I don't understand Panamanian culture, so I don't want to offend anybody. But I'd be doggone if I'm at a restaurant and you bring me food on soil with a tree over it with some little grapes hanging off of it. I don't know. Were they supposed to eat the leaves after they ate whatever it was that was in it? Like, it was a potted plant with a tree with some little dangly fruits and 2 little appetizer things. What is that? What does that signify? I don't understand. Like, give me a burger and some fries. Give me a burger and some fries. I'm not for all that fancy stuff. Like, that was way too much. All right, let's go to Mitch next. Zach and Mindy. Let me find their section. That wind is still blowing. I don't know if y'all can hear it or not. Where are they at? Zach and Mindy. Hold on, y'all. Oh, there they are. So in the morning, I thought it was funny. I don't remember what they were doing, but Zach was like, did you take a shower this morning? Like, Zach is really disgusted by Mindy. A lot of y'all pointed out at that episode when they first got to the honeymoon that she did not take a shower after traveling. Everybody doesn't take a shower after they travel. I don't. I took a shower that morning. When they take a shower for, I don't care if any of y'all think I'm nasty because I don't take a shower after I've ridden an airplane. Like, an airplane is just as dirty as any other public place. But anyway, he was like, did you take a shower this morning? So yeah. So fast forward to dinner for them. That's when everything kind of picked up. He says that he has 0 complaints about the honeymoon. And for her, it's not what she's expected. Teeth is really down and out about how things have gone. I think everybody comes into this show with a idea in their mind about how it's going to work out. And for Teeth, side note, I'm not calling her Teeth because she has messed up teeth. Teeth has actually straight teeth and white teeth, but I just see them all the time. At least initially, we saw them all the time. That's how she got the nickname Teeth. So I'm not making fun of her. It's just, it was always like she was always smiling. And Taylor is Teeth 2.0 because she like, okay, sorry, let me stop. So during dinner, she is concerned because he doesn't have his ring on, and it hurts her feelings, and he says he forgets to put it on, which is a crock of bull. Hair is so full of not only him, but it. Y'all know what it is, Shulbit. He is full of it because for a woman, I can understand taking your ring off. For them, from what I can see, they don't have some elaborate rings. My ring, I have 2. Neither of my rings are elaborate, and I always have my ring on. I never take my ring off. I do. The only time I take my ring off is when I'm doing pottery. That is the only time I take my ring off, and I put it right back on. So why a guy feels the need to take his ring off to go to sleep, I don't really know. Like, what is your ring going to hinder you from doing in the middle of the night? So it's just a bunch of bull why you don't have your ring on. I just think if you're married and you agreed on having rings, you need to have your ring on because that ring is a symbol of your marriage. But let me get back on track. He just says he forgets to put it on. He's giving her all these smirky looks, which I notice he does a lot. Like, and maybe it's part of his smizing thing, but he's like, a low battery's low. But he's always like, when she's talking, I don't understand what it is. But he feels like, and so this is a part of when Zach goes into his, we don't know what you're talking about mode. So he says he feels it will be easier to build attraction once they're back in DC. So you think it's gonna be easier for you to build attraction when you're back around all of the other things that can take your focus away from your spouse, your job, your family, your home, your social circle, or whatever that looks like. You think it's gonna be easier to build the attraction once you're there, as opposed to when you're in Panama with nobody around. At the end of the day, Zach just needs to be honest and say, Mindy, Teeth, I don't like the way that you look. I don't like the way that you look. I'm not attracted to you. I don't want to sleep with you. I don't want to kiss you. I don't want to touch you. And let that be that. Because it's obvious that Teeth has some insecurities, and I feel bad for her because all of the stuff that she's going through with Zach is only going to make it worse. It's going to make her question, I think, herself even more, especially given how much she gushed over him early on. But he wants to feel like when he's not around, does he miss you? When you're not around, do I miss you? Do I get excited to see you? And he's never been in this position. He wants her to help him figure it out. Help me figure out how I can be attracted to you. Who says that to somebody? I need you to help me get attracted to you. So she's like, what do you want me to do? Get breast implants? And probably in the back of his mind, he probably was like, yeah. But he's not going to say that out loud, which is a smart thing. But there's nothing that she can do. It's just the attraction, the attraction is either there or it's not. And I don't know of anyone that I've become more attracted to over time. Just for me and my personality, for all the girls I've dated, there was some kind of attraction. Now, I guess your attraction can grow, but Zach looked like he's working with absolutely nothing for Mindy, outside of maybe considering that she's a nice person. So what there is to build on, I don't really know. I think it's one of those situations where it's better just to cut your losses and just move on. But he says it takes a lot for him to admit that he doesn't have the answer and he doesn't know what to do. I guess maybe Zach is just used to always having the answer, always just being right, and just, everything just being perfect in the world of Zach. But this is just difficult for him. He tells us that it shouldn't be this hard. He has his little handy cam in the little private moment. Like, she's in the room talking to Dr. Viviana, and he's somewhere talking to us, saying that it shouldn't be this hard. And it shouldn't be this hard. Either you're attracted to somebody or you're not. But they got a whole nother 7 weeks to figure it out. So she talks to Viviana about all the issues. And we find out, I don't know if we knew this, but we find out that he's uncomfortable with the words associated with marriage. Like husband, wife, spouse, honeymoon. Those words make him uncomfortable, and he rather she not use them. So I don't get it at all. So we're gonna go ahead and move on to the final couple, which is Brayler. A lot of their interactions to me seem forced sometimes, and it is almost like they're both trying to put their best foot forward, but it's just not organic. And to me, it's showing up on camera. Y'all let me know if y'all see that as well. He is still stressing about the fact that he's not used to the cameras, that he's a private person, yet you signed up for a reality TV show. So filming is a struggle for him. I just have no idea what Brandon expected. What did you expect when you signed up for a TV show? Now, granted, from what I was told, Brandon was not one of the people who signed up for the show. He was recruited. But did I tell you this is for TV? There are going to be cameras involved and producers who are going to help move your story along and help y'all to figure out what it is that you want to show the world and help everything make sense and tie up loose ends and have a camera here and a camera there and a camera everywhere. Like, he missed that meeting. But they go to a private island, and he says, are we going to get private? And he says that, he's more excited about spending time with her than spending time in her. I'm kidding. He didn't say that, but that's pretty much what he meant. Some notable things that happen for him. He gets a serious sunburn. Another side note, why do black people think they can't get sunburned? Who told y'all you can't get sunburned? Who told y'all you don't have to wear sunscreen? I was a part of that, you know, because that's what's told to me. You black, you don't have to put on sunscreen. That's a lie. That's a lie. Skin cancer doesn't discriminate. Now, it's not as susceptible in people of color, but it can happen, okay? You need to go get you some SPF 50 and put it on your skin. Like, you need sunscreen. So he is like beet red. I mean, they're both already light brights anyway, but he is like beet red. Like he lifts up his shirt, which made me really uncomfortable, to show his tan line. And it was like, how long were you out in the sun? Like, it looked like it hurt. I was so confused. But when they get to their dinner later on and they get their drink, she takes a picture for her social media, and this puts them into this conversation about how they both deal with social media. Taylor is big on social media. Apparently she has a big following. I don't know exactly what that following is, and I haven't cared enough to try to look her up on Instagram, but apparently she has a lot of followers. And it kind of gives Brandon pause because he tries to stay away from those type of girls because he feels like they're self-centered and they just do everything for the gram and for likes, which, you know, many of them do. And Taylor does give that off because, to me, I think it's one thing when you're taking pictures of the things that you're doing or the things that you're eating, but when you're constantly posting it, you know, that's when it's kind of like, why are you doing this? Are you doing this to show off? Like, what is the purpose? And I feel like we've all been guilty of it or some point or another. I know I have. But they have a long conversation about it. And, you know, he said it's going to be an adjustment for him. And, you know, like I said, he said he stayed away from females like that. I know there are some women, girls, gals who don't like the word females. But, you know, hey, it's 2020. I don't know what to tell you. But I kind of missed it, but he said something about an IG model, and she made sure to be clear that she is not an IG model. And he was a little concerned about male attention, whatever. So then let's fast forward to the end of the episode with him before I get up off of here. So there's a scene with Brandon coming back in the room, and he's talking to somebody. He said, I thought we were getting food. And the person he's talking to, their name is Brandy, and she's, I guess, their producer. What I kind of noticed from reality shows, every person or couple has a producer that's assigned to them, the person that works directly with them to produce their segment. So their producer's name is Brandy. I'm assuming she's the only one for them. And he tells her, you're trying to play me. And she says, I'm not trying to play you. I'm just trying to follow your story. So Brandy is really upset about this. Taylor's voiceover comes in and she talks about how hard the filming process has been for him and how he's struggling and how he says things that she doesn't like. And he's very rude and abrasive to the production team, which, you know, is very obvious. Brandon is, I mean, he's coming off like a spoiled brat, pretty much what it looks like to me. So he goes out to try to escape the cameras, and it's like, bro, they're documenting you. Now, granted, he has a right to not want to be filmed, but you signed up for this. You signed up to be filmed when you signed up for a reality TV show. So Brandon is just like, I'm tired of it. I don't want to watch you no more. Like, you're doing too much. Team too much. You're doing way too much. So he has his hand on the camera, and there's a black man behind that camera. He's like, bro, I'm just trying to do my job. Like, I ain't got time for you and your shenanigans. I'm just trying to do my job. Can you get your hand off the camera so we can film you? The producer's like, wherever you go, we going. If you're going down to the bar to get a drink, we going. If you're going down to the pool to kick around the water, we going. And he's like, well, I guess we're going to be standing right here. Like, just like, so petty and so passive aggressive. It's just like, so he's going to wait at the elevator until they leave. But it's like, they're not going to leave. They're filming you. That's kind of how all this works. So when he gets down to he leaves. So Taylor ends up packing all his stuff, which couldn't have been me. The stuff would have still been in Panama. But he gets down to the bus and he's like going off, cursing and do all this stuff. He tells Taylor, F you, and says F y'all. And that may be a little bit of editing, but I believe probably most of it is true. And I just hope, I'm going to hope it's editing because we did not see any of the other men on the bus say anything, you know. But, you know, in that moment, you don't know how crazy this fool is. He might not have it all. You know, that elevator might not go to the top floor. So I would just hope that if he did get extremely disrespectful to Taylor, that somebody would have said something like, hey, Brandon, you need to chill. But we don't know if that happened or not. So we'll see what happens with him. I'm tired of Brandon. I'm tired of Brandon. It just is what it is. Y'all let me know. I think I said Taylor a couple times. I didn't say Taylor and her wig. Unacceptable. Y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. Sorry that this review is late. I'm glad I at least did it, but you know, it is what it is. Make sure you rate, comment, subscribe if you haven't already, tap the bell notification, share this video if you feel like it. Thank you so much to those who watched the last review. Y'all got it up to 7,000 views. Can we get this one to 7? We'll see. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.